Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your evening session before vacation time strikes. Good evening. So, how are you doing? How's everybody doing? You can post or you can talk.
A little stressful.
I know, but these are the last days in the way you can rest during vacation time. I know. This is going to finish soon, guys. Let me just explain to you how the process began and at the same time displaying the components we have completed so far. In the way you can visualize the macro concept of research. And I understand that at this stage, everybody is working on different tasks. So I understand that. So know that this is just part of the process. All right. So let's do it. Now, let me just, can you just tell me how each one of you is doing in related to your work? Anybody who wants to volunteer and tell me your experience in these weeks, in these previous weeks?
Can I?
Please, please.
Well, in my personal opinion, I can say that at least the guys from basic English have been, how can I say it better, improving a lot. It was the last thing that the late, professor told me, because she was surprised because of the fact that the students, since they are in basic level, they are being improving a lot. Mostly because they are proactive. They take advantage of the things that she gave them, but also they say that they are happy and they feel comfortable because they are learning something new. It's okay to feel nervous since they are beginning with the major, but they are motivated to continue to the end. So that's, as my personal opinion, I can say that they are fascinating because it's something new and they show a nice collaboration because, as far as I know, some students don't want to participate too much in some interviews, but the group that we had, they were too collaborative with us, and that's something that I thanks a lot for them.
Okay, thank you, Liliana. You know, at the end, what we need to establish is that comparison study between what the teacher says and what you see by the time you're also taking notes, observing the class. Because as a teacher, I have one point of view, one perception. Then as a student, I can display different actions. But you, as an observer, what do you see? I mean, does the teacher what the teacher says complies with what you see in classes? That's why observation consolidates what from the interview you had with the teachers. So thank you, Liliana. Anybody else who wants to share? Okay. Now, let me just show you this timeline of activities we have worked so far. And this, you can help me understand how we developed all these activities. Remember, next semester, you will begin your pre-especialización experience. In that, you will be selecting one topic, one research topic. And eventually the teacher who's going to be with you might support you in this, but they already know you have taken this class. It's going to be easier for you to follow the steps we established in these classes. In that way, you can just move on by completing your work in an autonomous way. Now, how did we begin with this project? Do you remember? We began like this. Chapter 1. In chapter 1, if you remember, we began discussing about the concepts and definitions about research. And we took into account also needs that the school has in order to comply with those research topics. We call them research topics. By the time we select those topics, remember, we also uh, linked those topics with different levels. In this case, different courses that we have actively running in our school in this semester. So we established in a way the variables, we established the full topic. In that way, we were able to identify two variables, independent and dependent variable. Now, by the time we were discussing that, at the beginning, we didn't know what level we were going to, be working with. Eventually, you knew what the level was, you knew what the course was, and you knew what the section was. So you got the whole package at the end. But for me, it was important to know what evaluation meant, what students' participation meant, what teachers' teaching techniques meant, what technology meant in these research topics. Each one of us has a different point of view, but we needed to consolidate what you understood from those topics. In order to know what you understood, we had these classes, but at the same time, you opened extra sessions to identify also the way you were working with the components. In this case, the introduction, the problem statement, the justification, and the objectives, especially in the objectives, because for research projects, we have another set of objectives, and we emphasized on the use of these specific objectives that were able to comply and complete this objective itself, the general one. Then, at the beginning, we were thinking about our profile and thinking about the way the teacher profile was going to work. But in this one, we're working as researchers. So we're not going to teach anything in these classes. We're going to be observing, taking notes, and well, you already know what's going on. At the same time, the problem statement also displayed what's going on with this topic inside the school. In that way, we took into account your experience and also the perception of these particular topics, because each topic was selected by members of the groups we have so far. Then another element that we identified was the bibliographic references. We began working and exploring authors or experts that were able to identify and consolidate and maximize the, the second topic, in this case, the second chapter, which is the theoretical framework. So in order to identify these components, we were able to move on to the next level. But this is chapter 1 related to content. All right, if you remember this, what we did before. But at the same time, we also worked on logistics. This was a combination between theoretical content and at the same time, operational activities. Identifying groups of 5 members. Remember, one of the instructions we shared with you before at the beginning was to establish this connection among 5 members from the beginning until the end of the semester. At the same time, we consolidated the groups by naming them, by baptizing them with one particular name. Also, the research topics, as I said before, were born out of needs that we have at La Escuela de Idiomas because a research project begins with a need we have. If you see something around reality, and if you, as I said before, if you want to study people's habits about, I don't know, about the way they eat, for example, or if you want to study why people eat pupusas with fork and knife, why is that? Is everybody eats them with hands, bare hands. So that might be a nice way also to establish a research project because it's qualitative. We need to know what's going on. So a need is born out of curiosity because by being curious, we understand the world in a better way. For example, I was talking to my guys in my composition class. This is just an example. By the time I'm just switched to chapter 2, there was a guy. I mean, I travel by bus every single day. I love traveling by bus. And something that I listened to a guy saying, okay, good morning, everyone. This is my name is this, and I'm selling you these delicious cookies. And I belong to one organization, and this organization supports young kids from different problems they have. So by the time I was listening to this guy, I was identifying the sentences he was saying. In those sentences, he was consolidating the idea or in a way to establish the idea, stating to sell the product because he mentioned cookies like about 5 times. He mentioned the price about 5 times in the association and this help or this assistance to young kids. I didn't know what the association was. He never said about that. And I never heard about how they're helping these kids. Then what I'm saying here is that we can also analyze people from the way they speak. And we call this ethnolinguistics because we identify how people speak and also where people come from. But sometimes when we speak or when we just text messages on WhatsApp, we limit our objective when we share some information. In that, he didn't mention. I wanted to know and I wanted to ask him, but then I said no. I will ask him when we get off the bus to see if he can give me that information. Then the discussion, as I said before, we had this discussion in order to know your interpretation on the topics we had. Now, this chapter 1 was finished in our Parcial 1 block, if you remember. In this one, we began identifying the importance of research. Then in chapter 2, we began working with the theoretical framework. Who can remember what we did on this chapter, anybody? You can tell me. Do you remember what we did?
The citation about the author, teacher, and the interpretation
Okay, what
about
is,
the topic,
go ahead, I'm listening. Thank you.
about different topics that we had. For example, in our case was the oral production, but we have to do research about the opinions that the author has, and we make the interpretations of the citation and also the introduction. We, had to put them in the bibliographic references.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Was it hard to do that? Was it hard to identify those authors? Anybody who can help me here? Yeah, by the time we identified the problem, or in this case, the research topic, what we did was to identify the variables, identify the topic itself, and then browse information in Google Books and also in other academic sources. Remember when we talked about the limitation and the extension and characteristics of these resources were mostly books. I mean, books and articles. In that, you were able to see the publication of the year and also the content itself. And finally, you got about 10 authors, if you remember at the beginning, and then you were just making some particular changes in order to have one set of authors in which you explained, remember? And we used one, I might say one methodology in order to begin working with APA citation processes. The first one, the first one was the model of interpretation. Remember the introduction, interpretation, and the last one was citation and then interpretation. Oh, iPhone SE, can you turn the microphone off, please? iPhone SE, please. iPhone SE, please. Thank you. Can you turn it off, please? iPhone SE. Are you listening to me, iPhone SE?
Who is iPhone?
Okay, thank you. Then we established this methodology in order not just to get information from the authors, but I needed to see the way you visualize the content of these authors. That's why we established the methodology related to the technique in this case to identify that by including what you knew or you didn't know about the topic to the citation that you selected from a variety of among 15 types from the APA references, and then the interpretation that you developed from the citation. Then it was important to explore these tasks because at the end, what it mattered to me was to get that you were involved not only to list a particular set of authors, but to know what they said about the topic you had. Also, we explored a little bit more APA references and we began working with the variable matrix. Now, does anybody remember how we worked on this variable matrix? Anybody? Does anybody remember the way we worked on the matrix, the variable matrix? Anybody?
May I?
Please.
Okay, as I remember, yeah, that one. I remember that we took into account the base was our research project, the name of our research project, and then we gonna focus in one research question to answer according to our general objectives, specific objectives, and so on.
Which was the most confusing or difficult step for you guys? Thank you, thank you. You can post or you can talk. You can post or you can talk.
Okay, for me, Mr. was two. Personally, the descriptors, because it was a little, I think, maybe confused to get some synonymous to get them from the dimensions. And as a group, I think that one part that was a little complicated too was the items, because to create all the questions and statements, it was a little hard as a group.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I know that the process takes time to assimilate it, and the instruction we shared was to create this brainstorming effect. And I understand because we were in a way tied up with everything from the research project until the conceptual definitions. So the purpose of having to generate in descriptors was to um, in a way create this free environment from you, like creating a bubble inside the other bubble. So you were not tied up in order to to establish a set of words that were strictly related to the topic. So you were able, in a way, to travel, to walk, to swim in between this content. And if you see, you generated statements and questions. And at the beginning, if you remember, you were asking me, teacher, but but you have want questions, don't you? Yes, we need questions, but we need statements because you can't use questions in an observation checklist. You can't because you're going to observe, you're going to analyze, just corroborate activities taking place in the classroom you're observing. So that's why we were just working little by little to complete this phase, which took a lot of time also, and this is part of the process too. Now the logistics on this one was this: the exploration stage, the application to APA recitations. We worked with 15, but then you selected some. We gave you that instruction before. The variable matrix was complete, and also the completion of the instruments. So at this point, you're using those instruments. You're using those instruments. At the end, what I'm saying is that everything we worked on the variable matrix is helping you now to establish and get the results you want, the outcome you want from these instruments. And I understand too that this is the first time you work like this. So this is new for us too, for everybody. Now, what is going on with chapter 3? Chapter 3 displays these components. Remember that I told you that these ones should be designed as chapter 2. Do you remember that I told you that? The method, the type of study, and the instruments. And these ones can you can work them out as chapter 2. In this case, introduction, citation, and at the same time, how do you call this? The interpretation. So you can use that. For subjects, we already talked about this. The subjects are students and teachers you are interviewing and observing. And the data collection is the whole process that you're going to write down. In fact, one single page explaining the process of data collection from the ending of the variable matrix, from the origin of the variable matrix until this point. Okay, so field work is what we're doing right now. You're going to classes, you're interviewing teachers. In fact, I just had my 2 interviews with the groups I was selected. And at this point, we're just moving on to what I call the the ending section of chapter 3 because we don't have so many components. What we have is a lot of work. We have a lot of work interviewing and also observing students. And that's why we call this research, because research is not about um, just reading a passage and talk about the passage. So it goes beyond that. Now, the methodology we have worked with chapter 3 is this. By the time we were working on chapter 2 and chapter in partial 2 block, we established also the groups, the names of the teachers, and we We had this contact with them on by Outlook, on Outlook processes. In that way, we were able to tell them and let them know about your presence in those classes. And we already know why we did that. Then you're working on the field work experience at this moment. And if you remember, some people have been asking me about the deliverables. And you have that information in UTEC Virtual. Remember? Entry, I gave you the requirements. For each group, we have these folders. Chapter 3 PDF, class observation checklist from 10 to 15, PDF, interview recordings, MP3 or MP4, the four of them, the interview scripts, 4 of them too on PDF, and the Padlet that each one of you has. Let me go back to this. I'm going to use Bad Rabbits in this case. So what you need to do is access, and you will be doing this. Individually speaking, you will be sharing with me what you understood from chapter 3, the whole experience on chapter 3. So you will be able to do this. You click here, you check grabadora de video, and you can record your experience by video recording yourself from between 1 or 3 minutes. By the time you finish the video, you need to write your name because I need to see those videos before vacation starts. So at this moment, I know everybody's working hard on having these, how do you call this? Deliverables ready. What you need to do is manage your time and also establish different roles in those groups in the way people can begin placing those products at the end before well, by Saturday midnight. Then you might say, teacher, and what about the rest? Well, what about the rest? By the time we come back, guys, well, we have class on Wednesday, the 20th. So that day, I'm just telling you now because I know you're busy, but I will remind you, I will send you an email, an email message that that Wednesday, what I only need is the full chapter. In this case, the full project, chapters 1, 2, and 3, and everything that has to be included in that project. But I can explain that the same Wednesday and the way you can upload it. What you need to do is put it together and that will be it. At the end, you might wonder, teacher, and then what am I going to do with this class? Well, the most I might say this, every stage is meaningful, but this is going to be the one that maybe you don't know much. So we'll be integrating the analysis, the findings by identifying what you did with the subjects, by checking the theoretical framework and your point of view based on this. So you're going to triangle the information, what we call this triangling in research. So this is what we're going to do on chapter 4 and partial 4. And at the end, that's basically what we have for partial 5, which is going to be related to these deliverables. I'm going to explain that by the time we begin on partial 5 or 4. But at the end, we have presentations for chapter 4, for partial 4 and partial 5. You see, we didn't have so many exams in this session because this class is about research. And on research, we need to work in terms of identifying the process and facing these opportunities with people, with our subjects in this case. So any questions?
Está cansado usted.
Now that I just gave you a tour, a timeline, the way we began and the way we are moving forward, do you have any questions? I will just open this space if you have any questions about what we're doing. And I know each one of you is busy working on your deliverables, so you go ahead. So this space, this room is ready to listen to you guys. Questions, comments? Questions or comments about what we have been doing?
Uh, Maybe I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
The first one is that what if just two students are available, or just let's say they want to help us with the search, because at least in our case, the rest of the students don't want to help us in, even the teacher told them that will they will receive an extra point if they decide to help us, but until now just two or maybe just one is, I mean, he wants to he allows us to interview him. So what can we do in that case?
Keep trying. We have until Friday, remember. And what you can do is talk to the teacher again. At the end, what we need is more people, and we need that information. So keep trying. We still have 2 more days, 3 more days. I mean, because vacation begins on Monday. So keep trying.
Okay, and the last question can be that how can we deliver chapter 3, and how can we upload the video?
Oh, I shared with each one of you out my Outlook. So what you need, I sent you an invitation, so you're able to access. So check your email account or your Outlook email account, and you will see that I shared this with each one of you. Each one of you from your own group has this accessible entry. So you just place the information inside, and that's it.
Without any format, the video can be done like just recording ourselves, then just share it. No link.
In this case, I need the evidence. As I said before, we need
Yeah.
it as an MP3 or MP4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why
Let's.
these are going to be files. In this case, we're working with files, PDF or MP3 or MP4.
Oh, okay. Thanks, sir.
No, I need the audio, Christina. As I said before, I need the files. Everything you send is going to be file related. MP3 format, MP4 format, PDF. Yes, we don't need links. We need that. Mhm. And don't forget that we established that codification for those products. Don't forget that. I'm going to take into account that too. That's why we gave you that information before. Look at this. Let's see where we have this. Look, 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 look. Look, look, look. It's coming, it's coming. And don't forget we have tasks and quizzes until Friday, guys. Don't forget that. And let's see here. Yeah, these are the instructions I delivered 1 week ago. In the way you see the chapter 3 on PDF, only chapter 3. I'm not talking about the full project, only chapter 3. Then the class observation checklist, PDF, the interview recordings file. That's why I didn't write down the file. You already know the file. The scripts, PDF. We have 4 scripts, and also the Padlet that you will be working on Padlet, individually speaking. All right, any other question, guys? Now this is your time for speaking and asking questions.
Teacher, good
Yes.
evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, teacher, I have a problem with the class.
Which class?
with advanced one because our group has a problem since the with the teacher did not provide us the list of the students.
Which
And
teacher? Which teacher?
Alex Escobar.
Okay.
Yes, and I grew the student, but only two persons have confirmed they can help me with the interview.
So
And I
was
don't know
was the teacher
how.
able to help you a little bit more, or
No, because when the teacher no only saw the message, but no answer the message, and I grow the students' personality, and but only two students can can help me with the interview. The
wh- when
others,
when do
no.
you have when does he have those classes?
Mm, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So we still have time. I'm going to contact him now in the way you can have more students. Let me see. Let me just see.
Okay.
Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Alex Escobar.
Yes.
Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I got him here. Wait. Did you interview him already?
Sorry.
Did you interview Alex Escobar?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I just texted him, so he can contact you tonight. And what is your name? And that way he can contact you right away.
Melissa Martin. Melissa Lisbeth Martin.
Okay, he already knows that.
Okay,
Melissa,
teacher. Thank you.
thank you. No, thank you. Anybody else? Do you have any other questions, guys?
There, I got a little confused.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is your confusion?
Okay, according to the document that you are sharing right now, at the beginning, I understand. Well, when I said at the beginning, I mentioned 3-4 classes ago uh, that you mentioned that the chapter 3 is only the parts that you share with us one class according uh, to one document that you had from other group.
Mhm.
That include research method, type of study, subject, instrument, and data collection.
Yes.
Yeah, just that's the only chapter 3. But I got the confused right now because you mentioned that the class of observation, checklist, the recording, interview, those are including in the chapter 3.
Those will be part of the package of chapter 3. If you
Uh,
see this, look, each one of you has a folder, remember?
yeah.
You're going to place them over here.
Okay.
So, but what is your confusion?
No, just because I remember that you mentioned that all the interviews, the audios, the scripts are going to be um, delivered after the vacation. I heard
Yes,
that.
yes. That's I didn't say much because I know everybody's busy working and in these resources. By the time we come back, I will request the full project. But at this point, I don't want to mention that more because this is the priority one. When we come back, we just put together everything, but I will let you know a sample. That's not a problem.
Okay, but so the audios and the scripts and the checklist and the other documents can be we can upload it in the folder after the vacation, or it is
No,
mandatory
no.
before.
Before vacation.
Ah, okay,
Remember,
okay.
we have until Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, you can even begin now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
You just identify the group. You talk to the members of the group and make sure everybody uploaded everything. No, this is going to be before vacation.
Oh,
That was the instruction. Mhm.
thank you.
Okay, thank you for asking. The Padlet video is going to be your perception about chapter 3. Yeah, this is going to be an individual activity. Yes. Since we don't have an oral presentation, this Padlet is going to help me see the way you understood chapter 3. Let's see, somebody was posting. Galaxy J7. That's basically the purpose. This is like a mini oral presentation about chapter 3, and this is individual too. All right. So each of the members of your group has one Padlet, the same Padlet. But Travis one Padlet, Black Shield another Padlet, Superpoderosos another Padlet. But this is individual. It is clear, Galaxy? So I needed just to double check the sharing link I created with you in terms of checking these folders, because every one of you has access to these folders. I mean, per group. If you have everything ready, so let's begin placing all these deliverables as soon as possible. Okay, any other question? It is clear, Galaxy? Galaxy,
I'm sorry, sir.
yes.
I just want to know how long it should be the Padlet.
Look, it says from 1 to 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Teacher,
Tell me.
I have a question. For example,
Mhm.
as a group, we have all the information. Well, the complete information right now.
Excellent.
But for example, we are bad rabbit, and we don't know if we need to adopt all the information. For example, the checklist in one document, or we need to upload it two documents, for example, for the group in the morning or the other group to relate it with the class in the afternoon.
No, all together. Remember we talked about this 5 checklists for the morning session and 5 checklists for the evening session. But you can group them by using this. Let me show you. If you have a lot of pages, that is your question. So you can use this one. Look, you can compress all of them and put them together in one single PDF document. Let me see. No, what is this? Yeah, you can. Yeah, this one. Unir PDF. So you have 10 PDF documents, which are your checklist. You can put them together. Look, it says seleccionar archivos. All of these make a single file. And then you upload a single file of 10 scripts in these folders.
Ah, okay. Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, you can use that. I love PDF. It's an awesome tool.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but remember, if you have it ready, begin placing them. And that way you can rest during vacation. All right, anybody else? Thank you, Pembroke.
Me, sir.
Yes, tell me.
I have a question. I already had the first interview, but I wondered about the students if I need to put the 10th names of the students in some format.
No,
Or
no, no. I mean, you got the transcript.
okay,
The transcript respected the name of the student, didn't it?
okay. I thought that we need to put the number like Gmail's information about the students on the document, but
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I mean, we need, remember the format of, are you talking about the observation checklist or the interview guide?
no, about the interview.
Okay, you're talking about the interview itself.
Yeah,
Or,
because
okay, I'm sorry. Are you talking about the content on the interview or the format of the interview guide?
no, about the name of the students, if we need to put this on the other document.
Oh, yes, do it, because remember, the transformation, the conversion between from audio to text, that is respected. If somebody said Mario, okay, Mario, this is your participation, so leave it like Mario. Remember, did you, which tool did you use to convert audio to text? Did you use any tool?
Yes, but a partner is working in that
So leave it like that. Leave it like that. If Mario was mentioned in the interview, leave it like Mario. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, teacher.
Tell me. Tell me.
And I have a problem with the members for the interview, the 10 members. Today I have the interview, but only one member connecting in the interview.
One member.
Yes, I writing again with the other members, but at the time anybody answers.
Who's the teacher?
Mr. Marroquin.
Okay. Did you get the list?
Yes.
So let me contact him again, because when is his class going to be? When is his class scheduled?
6:30 to 8 a.m.
Oh, Friday.
Yes.
So access on Friday. And I will let him know that you need those kids as soon as possible. I mean, I
Okay.
think we're going to break the rules a little bit, but we need those kids during class time, because we are just, against the wall at this moment.
Yes. And for the interview for the teacher, he's saying us today he has only time for the interview on Saturday night. This is a problem or it's okay?
It's okay. We depend on him, no problem. Because
Okay.
at that moment, remember, the conversion from audio to text is going to take you about 10 minutes. So no problem, no problem.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? ¿Alguna otra pregunta, chicos? Este es el tiempo para...
Teacher, I have a question about observation checklist. The observation checklists are physical or digital?
Everything is going to be PDF format. Yes.
Okay.
What you can do is scan each of those documents and convert them into PDF and use this tool. Look, you're going to unir archivos and you send it as a single document.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Yeah, because we're not working with physical resources. Thank you. Anybody else? We open this room to make questions.
Teacher, I have a question.
Go ahead.
For example, what happens if I have 4 students in an interview and we decide to make another interview, and in this case we have, let's say, another 4 students. In this case, we should to I mean, we should to mix the videos and make one single one, or we can send it in a separate way.
No. Send them separately. I mean,
Separate.
if you had you were supposed to have 4 interviews, so we need 4 files. But if you had an extra one because you didn't have so many people, you can send the 5th one, no problem.
Oh, okay.
No
Okay.
problem. No problem. No
Thank
problem.
you.
By the time we finish this phase, guys, we will be working only with the resources we get from the subjects. And that is going to take more time because we need to design how to approach analysis. Now, let me just open this question again. How have you worked with analytical questions? How have you portrayed your analysis on paper? How do you do in order to analyze one text or one question or one video? How did you do it before? Anybody? Anybody who can tell me how you implemented analysis in your projects before? Anybody? Do you remember that one of the classes we had, we integrated word clouds? Do you remember? Does anybody remember the word clouds we worked with? Anybody? Anybody? Let me show you something here. And that way you can have an idea the way we'll be operating this. Check. Look at this. So we're switching to analysis after we come from vacation. So just take a look at the way we might be working with this.
Conozca Envivo, el más poderoso software para análisis de datos cualitativos y manejo de información no estructurada. En esta presentación le mostraremos una vista rápida de la nueva suite Envivo y sus principales novedades. Envivo 11 conserva todas las funcionalidades desarrolladas en versiones anteriores del software, como, por ejemplo, el conteo de palabras y análisis de conglomerados para una exploración avanzada de documentos de texto. La comparación entre codificadores, que nos ayuda a calcular el coeficiente kappa utilizado en algunas estrategias de análisis de contenido y trabajo en equipo. La visualización gráfica de datos de frecuencia, modelos y el manejo de atributos para trabajar en análisis de tipo mixto. Las salidas de información, como las matrices de codificación y matrices de marco de trabajo, que nos permiten resumir de manera efectiva nuestros datos para la construcción de informes. Ahora contaremos con diferentes versiones que se ajustan de acuerdo a las necesidades de los usuarios. Envivo for Teams es una versión desarrollada para servidor que nos permite realizar trabajo colaborativo en tiempo real, además de obtener control de usuarios y permisos, tamaño ilimitado para proyectos, herramientas para administración y seguridad de información, entre otros. En Vivo for Teams es compatible con todas las versiones de En Vivo 11 para que los equipos puedan realizar un trabajo realmente colaborativo en sus proyectos. En Vivo 11 para Windows cuenta con 3 versiones, En Vivo Plus, En Vivo Pro y En Vivo Starter. La nueva versión de En Vivo Plus está diseñada para entidades, empresas y grupos de trabajo que necesitan llevar a un nivel más avanzado el análisis de grandes cantidades de información. Cuenta con todas las funcionalidades de En Vivo Pro y Starter, optimizadas con nuevas herramientas como la identificación automática de temas y sentimientos y la generación de sociogramas para el análisis de redes sociales. En Vivo Pro es la versión recomendada para investigación y academia, pues cuenta con todas las funcionalidades tradicionales de En Vivo, como el manejo de una gran diversidad de formatos, importación de información desde gestores bibliográficos, herramientas para codificación y análisis, así como opciones avanzadas para exploración de datos. Por último, En Vivo Starter es una versión básica diseñada únicamente para el análisis de texto y algunas pautas de enseñanza. En Vivo Starter no cuenta con las funcionalidades avanzadas de las versiones Pro y Plus, ya que busca simplificar el menú de opciones para realizar ejercicios básicos de aprendizaje. En Vivo para Mac cuenta con las funcionalidades principales para codificación y análisis de información textual y multimedial, así como algunos reportes, búsquedas y gráficos que nos permitirán trabajar con nuestra información cualitativa directamente en Mac. Esta versión se integra completamente con En Vivo para Windows para realizar trabajo en equipo, contribuciones a proyectos o para utilizar herramientas adicionales de las versiones Pro y Plus. Con En Vivo, analice multiplicidad de formatos como texto, audio, video, PDF, tablas de encuesta con pregunta abierta e información de redes sociales. Explore grandes cantidades de información utilizando búsquedas avanzadas en texto. Explore sus datos con consultas y matrices para obtener conclusiones basadas en evidencia. Visualice sus datos de diferentes maneras para optimizar la presentación de informes. Si desea conocer más sobre licenciamiento, capacitación y eventos gratuitos,
Okay, this is just an approximation of this program. It's nice, soon, very nice. We will do it in another way by respecting this methodology. Did you know about this program before? Anybody?
First time.
All right. So there are more. We have ethnograph. We have also this one, which is En Vivo, and the other one is Atlas T. At the end, what the program is doing is making connections between keywords. We call them keywords, and the program calls them nodos, in order to identify the relationship between these ideas. If you saw, one of the keywords that they refer to is about feelings. And that's what we talked about before, what qualitative research studies. And we study that. We study perceptions, we study feelings, emotions from the subjects. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Questions. Please don't forget, we finish our tasks and quizzes from OTEC Virtual this coming Friday. And we finish the whole process by Saturday, midnight. If you need more time, we can use Sunday in order to upload it, but make sure we finish this before vacation. On vacation, you don't need to study, you don't need to work at all. That's why we invested a lot of time to finish this during this week. Any questions? Preguntas, chicos. Questions, comments? Does anybody know why we're finishing this stage of tasks by interviewing and observing people in classes besides the vacation period? Do you know why we're finishing this on Saturday? Do you know? There is another reason why we're doing this. Does anybody know? Let me show you the second one. By the time we're just analyzing and comparing Atlas T and NVivo.
In this mini tutorial, you'll learn how to create and assign codes in Atlas TI. We'll start by looking at the 4 basic coding functions. These are open coding, coding by list, NVivo coding, and quick coding. Let's begin by creating a new code. First, I'll mark a short passage and open up the code's main menu. Here you can see the 4 basic coding functions together with their respective icons. To create a new code, choose the item Open Coding and enter the name of the code or codes separated by a vertical line. When I hit OK, a few different things will happen. First, the code appears in the margin area, and the coded segment is also automatically given quotation status. The new code and quotation are also currently active in the toolbar for drop-down lists. The next coding function is NVivo coding. An NVivo code takes a data segment and uses its contents as a code. You might need this function when you come across an expressive statement in your data that you'd like to use as a code or concept in your work. If I mark this data segment and click the button for NVivo coding, you'll see that the data segment appears as a code in the margin area. Once you've created a number of codes, the code by list function will become useful. Using it allows you to quickly call up a list of your codes and assign one or more codes to a data segment. Select multiple codes by holding down the Control key. Quick coding, the last of these 4 functions, can be used to assign the last active code or codes. If I mark a data segment and then click on this function, the codes that I just assigned using the code by list function will be called up and assigned to this data segment. These coding functions can also be accessed directly by clicking on the corresponding icons in the vertical toolbar, or by right-clicking on a highlighted data segment and choosing the appropriate function or the function that you'd like to use from the context menu. You can also code data using the Code Manager. I'll open up the Code Manager, and here you can see the same menu of coding options in the first menu. The Code Manager provides a special coding feature, however, which is the option of drag and drop coding. Choose a data segment that you'd like to code and select the code or codes which you'd like to assign in the Code Manager and drag them into the primary document pane. You can release them anywhere that you'd like in the primary document, and they will automatically be caught by the highlighted text and appear as codes in the margin area. To review, we've looked at how to create codes and assign existing codes, and seen a variety of access points for the 4 basic coding functions. You can code by opening up the main menu, by using different vertical toolbar icons, by right-clicking on text segments to open up context menus, as well as by using the Code Manager. And this concludes our mini tutorial on basic coding techniques. Thank you.
All right, this was another demonstration, another option we might use for how to work. Any questions, guys, about what is coming after vacation and before vacation? Any other additional questions? Comentarios, chicos. You can post or you can talk.
Teacher,
Tell me.
a mí honestamente me gustaría más que nada compartir tal vez como un consejo para aquellos que les está costando con los estudiantes.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Por ejemplo, algo que a nosotros al principio nos costó mucho porque les escribimos así individualmente, pero nos dejaban en visto. Entonces, lo que se nos ocurrió fue que en la clase, cuando lo estábamos observando, nos fijamos en los chicos que participaban mucho y aprovechábamos el momento que estuvieran conectados en la clase y en ese momento yo les escribía, ya cuando ellos salían de la clase ya me contestaban. Y ahí fue como logramos tener la participación de ellos, ¿verdad? Y labia. La verdad que sí hay que usar un poquito de labia para que nos ayuden. En mi caso yo les decía como que la teacher nos había recomendado a esta persona porque era muy participativa y que ella confiaba en usted para poder ayudarnos y ellos aceptaban gustosamente. Entonces, más que nada eso, como un consejo para aquellos que les está costando un poquito lograr es la participación de los estudiantes que estamos solicitando la ayuda, ¿verdad?
Gracias, Camp Rock. Al final, esta es parte de la gestión, chicos. Es parte de la gestión que están desarrollando porque hay que crear condiciones con mucha creatividad para que los chicos puedan ser parte de esta experiencia. Necesitamos siempre el apoyo de los docentes, pero sí, fue muy buena estrategia. Y supieron aprovechar también las condiciones de estar observando la clase porque no solo se dedicaron a observarla, sino que establecer los contactos con los chicos. Está muy bien. Thank you for sharing. Gracias. Así que chicos, miren, antes de desearles una feliz vacación, una buena vacación, para que tengan una buena vacación, procuremos terminar todo ya. Ya nos quedan, ¿qué? Activamente tenemos hasta el sábado, pero si necesitan domingo, cerramos, it's up to you, pero necesitamos cerrar todo este fin de semana. Porque recuerden, nosotros terminamos todo el proceso antes que comience la Semana Santa y antes que comiencen los parciales. Por eso nosotros al regresar vamos con parcial, regresamos con parcial. Ahí va a ser imposible que ustedes estén observando y entrevistando. Ya los profesores van a estar cerrados a esa posibilidad. Por eso mismo hay que aprovechar estos días, hay que cerrar con broche de oro esta experiencia para que ya solamente nos quedemos explorando y analizando todo lo que dijeron los subjects. Y de esa forma, pues, es lo que vamos a hacer cuando regresemos. Estén pendientes el miércoles, de todos modos, porque el miércoles tenemos la entrega. Bueno, no va a ser el miércoles, voy a dar hasta el jueves o viernes, pero eso va a ser después que regresemos, que sería el capítulo, el full project. Pero por el momento, lo que estoy solicitando ya está compartido con cada uno de ustedes aquí en estos folders. No, por favor, no me vayan a enviar nada a Outlook. Todo está aquí. Todo está aquí. All right. Bien, chicos. Questions before we leave?